Hello and welcome to another episode of Husker Dive. I'm here with Chris, my boy Chris, and
What's
we're
going
gonna be
on?
doing some pre-spring football talk.
Yes,
So
sir.
we're just gonna be kicking it. We're gonna be talking about all things Husker football. We're not gonna talk about basketball. We're not. I mean, I don't know, but I don't think we're gonna talk about the next year in football. We're not talking about Dylan Raiola. Everybody already talked about that. We're just gonna talk about pre-spring football talk.
Yes, sir. I'm excited. This is gonna be a good episode.
Yeah. All right, so just to start it off, we haven't done one of these in a while, so just some big picture stuff. So the new coaches, which coaching hire interests you the most, and what was your favorite hire?
At first I was skeptical about Matt Rule, to be honest. I think, a lot of us were all on like the urban train, I'll
Mm-hmm.
bring him here. But I'm really proud and just relieved that, with his hires, my favorite is Tony White. I feel like our defense was so strong a couple years ago, and last year was just so mediocre. And Tony White had like a top 30 defense at Syracuse last year, so I I'm really optimistic about how our defense is going to play. But yeah, I think he's my favorite
Okay.
hire.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
gotta admit, I was skeptical of Rule 2 coming in. I if I'm gonna be honest, I thought Deion Sanders was gonna be a good hire to come here.
Yeah. Hey, I agree, but hey, well, I don't know what I think we saw unfold with Colorado and how he just kind of walked in and said leave. Um, I don't think Nebraska fans, the whole state of Nebraska, would not have been okay with that. I don't think that would have been a good way to start. So I'm interested to see what he's going to do over there. But yeah, I was all about the Dion train as well back when that was hot.
Yeah, same. I'm glad we don't have him now, just the way like some of the stuff he said over at Colorado. But
Hmm.
for a while there, I was pretty on board with that. Um, but yeah, I like the hire of Tony White as well. I really like Evan Cooper, the DB's coach. Like Rule said, he's a film junkie. He's always like 3 a.m. He'll be sending somebody's film saying like you gotta watch this kid or whatever. He just sounds like a
Hmm.
grinder to me. He's always been Rule's right hand man. I just think that he sounds like a good coach to me. And the fact that we haven't yet, I don't believe had any DBs transfer. I'm sure that's going to change after the spring. But just
Hmm.
him coming in and being able to keep that room together, because that's a big room with a lot of scholarship players.
Yeah,
Um, so I think that shows a good level of him creating good relationships. Um,
I agree. What one thing that I want to mention about Rule is like that boy is all over the place, and it's
dude,
it's awesome to see because I feel like we didn't really see that with Scott Frost. And I mean, as much as I love Frost in the beginning and just kind of how things came out about him afterwards, I mean, it's just a completely different. It seems like he really cares, and
mhm.
that's something that I think we really needed as a fan base, and that the Huskers needs as a team. So, but it's just really awesome to see him tweet out something that he's like in the middle of nowhere, Iowa, or he'll be in like St. Louis, and it's like the next day, it's just he's always in a new place, and it's really awesome to see. So I really love the dedication that Matt Rule is bringing.
Yeah, and that was my biggest doubt with him too when he got hired. I was like, he had said the reason when he was at Baylor, because my sister and brother-in-law went to Baylor when he was there. One of his biggest things at Baylor that he enjoyed was that he didn't have to get in a plane to go recruit. He could just recruit the state of Texas. Coming here into Nebraska, I was worried because obviously we got to recruit nationally. But he seems like he's a
Hmm.
grinder for that. And Ed Foley too, going to every single high school in the state.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
I'm
We got a
saying,
we got a squad. We got a squad of coaches, and they really care about this program, and it's something that I think I'm not bashing any other coaches in the past. I mean, it's just a different type of care that I feel like we're getting, and it's just at a whole new level, and I really appreciate it. I think a lot of us do.
mhm. All right, going off of Tony White, you talked about how he's one of your favorite hires. What about that 3-3-5 defense? That's something new in the Big Ten, hasn't seen too much of.
I like it. I mean, I'm fond of it. I've looked at some film of it, and I think in the Big Ten, we face a lot of really good running backs,
Hmm.
and we also play against some really good quarterbacks and that have weapons to throw to. And I think this allows us to be kind of in the middle in defending both. More worried about the run um, because of I would say our D line is probably not strong, um, but I think our DBs are like you said earlier. It's our we got a deep room and
Mm-hmm.
we got some ballers on that side. So I like this. I'm interested to see how it goes. I trust him. I feel like Tony White knows what he's doing. And I don't know. I'm interested to see. I think you have to use your best defensive assets, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be our DBs. I'm also interested to see how the line's going to shape up this year. But I mean, I think it's just time will tell with something like this.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think going back to a couple years ago, we had that pretty good defense. I mean, we went 3-9 that year, but it's the year we lost those close games. JoJo
Yeah,
Doman, I mean, we were basically running a three. We almost always had five DBs in there with JoJo playing the nickel. Um,
yeah,
and I think looking at TCU, I know they got destroyed in the championship game, but what they did against Michigan on defense, I know Michigan put up some yards and points there at the end of the game. Um,
right.
that was giving Michigan a long time to prepare for that defense, and TCU stuck it to them for not being as big or as strong of a team as Michigan.
Yeah,
And I just think it's a very versatile defense. Honestly, I played some NCAA 14. I changed up my defense to a 3-3-5 to see what plays could come out of it.
yeah,
But it's a lot of different blitz packages, which I like. But we'll see how it goes. And I think like Wisconsin switching to that air raid offense because that they got that new offensive coordinator.
yeah,
Iowa's been passing more lately. Purdue passes it. I mean, I know the
yeah.
West only exists for one more year, but I think that there's a lot of passing teams that we're gonna face this year. So hopefully it helps out with that.
100%. I totally agree, and I mean I'm really excited because I went to Purdue, Nebraska last year at Purdue, and the ball was just being thrown around, ran around. I was like, we couldn't stop Mockabee, and I was like, what is happening? And it was just like I feel like we were just kind of caught in the middle where we couldn't stop one or the other, you know. And um, I feel like if this is something that this worked well for him, if he really wants to implement this, I'm excited to see it. And anything better than last year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and last note on this, so you know our boy Zach Litweiler. Shout out
Oh
Zach.
yeah,
He's a big Florida State fan, so he's all deep in the ACC. And he was telling me as soon as we hired Tony White, he's like, Nate, you guys got to steal with him. He's the only reason Syracuse has been good the last couple years. He's a great defensive coordinator, whatever. So I was like, I trust somebody that's seen him more than we have. So
yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I think our defense is has on the come up and definitely has some bright potential.
yeah. So now switching to the offensive side, new offensive coordinator Marcus Satterfield was offensive coordinator at South Carolina previously. He did okay at South Carolina. I know the first half of the year they were not good offensively. Last half of the year they definitely picked it up. Beat Clemson. Beat who's their other big rival? They played somebody else big at the end of the year, but they won. They
They
definitely
beat
picked
Tennessee.
Tennessee. Yes, that's
Yeah,
who it was. They picked it up there at the end of the year. He can't. He comes here. He says that he wants to run a slow, huddling offense, running with the fullback. What do you think about that?
I love, I love it. Run the damn ball. I have preached that for so long. I think it's so important, and oh my goodness, it's so. I think a lot of people love the old school, just punch you in the mouth, run downhill type stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
I think I mean, the new era of football definitely has its place now, but I love it. I want to see us run the ball all over the place. I absolutely adore it. Um, and I mean, it just gets me excited. I really want to get that hat that says "Run the damn ball," but whatever. But yeah, I think that really kind of opens up the weapons that we have. I mean, we'll get into the quarterback
Yeah.
breakdown in a little bit, but I think I think if we can run the ball efficiently, it's gonna help us out. But with running the ball, we need that O line to be shaped up because
Mm-hmm.
that O line was not it last year. Is all I could say. But I think I mean I'm just gonna keep saying it. I'm optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's really gonna open up the strengths of both quarterbacks, to be honest, of throwing and running, but it also allows us to just be less one dimensional than I feel like we have in the past, especially last year.
Yeah. I think it has its pros and cons. I just don't want to turn into the next Iowa or Wisconsin. They are so boring to watch. I do not want to turn into that. I'm all for running the ball and what at power games, stuff like that, but I still want to be explosive. I kind of like the
Yeah.
fast play. Which I'm sure some of that too is just trying to get Nebraska fans hyped. I'm
Hmm.
excited for the new offense, running the ball, power
Right.
game, huddling up, but I also still hope that we keep that kind of swagger that we can use to like get good athletes here.
And I think with like Sims and Casey, like that's going to be, it's going to be one or the other. And you can't have a quarterback like those and not have like that swagger, if you will. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like it's still going to be there. And I think if we can open up a good, strong run game that allows them to have their 1,000 rush yard seasons, they're going to be slinging the ball over the place. So I'm excited. I think it's really going to help us out.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. This next topic kind of go hand. The next two kind of go hand in hand. So first, I believe the number is 103 scholarship players Nebraska has on roster right now.
I've
Um,
seen.
which we have to get down to 85. So it's 18 we have to drop. Which there's ways to do that outside of players transferring with
Mhm.
NIL and other things. And then the spring game, Trev Albert saying it will be a real football game. What are your thoughts on those? The excess of scholarship players and then it being a real football game.
Um, I I mean, I don't think it hurts to have more.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you gotta narrow it down. But obviously, I think it's going to get smaller in time, especially in like the transfer portal era that we're in.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, I think the spring game will be really telling on to a lot of the players. Like, all right, this is going to be my role. And obviously, those can change, but the spring game is really like a big decider. Or indicator of like how your season's going to be. So I think I'm not really worried about getting down. I don't think we're going to have 103
Yeah.
scholarship players come. I don't know June 1st, but um, I don't know. And the spring game, I'm excited. I mean, we went 2 years ago, and it was fun.
Hmm.
It was a great atmosphere. I mean, granted, that was like the end of like COVID restrictions and all that. But I think what Trev's saying is going to be real. I think we'll be able to see how conditioning went over the winter.
Mm.
We're going to see how shape everyone's going to be. I think that was something that wasn't really. I don't know. I feel like it was really hyped up this year, this winter. Seeing all the pictures, the videos, the hype videos, like them pushing the sleds out in the snow a couple weeks, like last
That was
week.
cool. That was
So
cool.
that like I'm excited for that. I think that's going to really show who they are as athletes, and it's gonna kind of tell us as a fan base what the coaches are doing. And I think if we have a really boring game and everyone's tired, we're gonna be like, oh god, it's gonna be another one of those years. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm optimistic, and I think that's the number one thing for me. I'm excited to kind of see how in shape everyone is and who's ready to play.
Yeah, and I will say about the scholarship numbers, I mean, I know getting it down to 85, a lot of people are worried about that, but like there's no need to worry about that at all. Like Rule and his staff will get the player, it'll get down to 85. Some NIL people I'm sure can get like they're gonna get paid more than they would just a scholarship. And I think that there's other ways to get it down as well as people entering the transfer portal and they see where their positions are at come springtime. And I don't think that anybody needs to worry about that at all. And then about the spring game, I think since you have 103 scholarship players for spring ball, I would have totally let them do a real football game. Tackle, I take the green jerseys off the quarterback, bro.
Yes.
Make it a game. That's
I
what I
that's
want.
one thing that I hated 2 years ago. They'd be like, dude, have all field and it's like two-hand touch at the back. Oh, he's down. Like,
Yeah,
no, like that's just let him play. Let him. I want to see a physical game. I mean, I don't want anybody to get hurt, obviously, but like, I mean, that's what football is. You want to see people get physical, and you want to see like how physical our guys are, and
yeah,
if who can take hits and who can't. So
yeah.
I think. I'm excited to see how that plays out. What is it, April 22nd?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think it's something like that.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it though. I hope what Trevor's saying is real about it being a real football game. All right. So speaking of Casey Thompson, Jeff Sims in the spring game, let's get down to our
Oh
position
boy.
breakdowns. We're gonna start with quarterback. Who will be the starting quarterback?
I am going to ride with Casey. I think he knows the team the most.
Hmm.
I mean, obviously he was here last year. He only had 17 touchdowns and he had 10 interceptions.
Mm.
So that ain't great. But if you look at Sims, he had 30 passing touchdowns and 23 interceptions. So we're still sitting at this like not a great ratio.
Yeah.
But one thing that makes me confident, especially if we're running the ball efficiently and we
Hmm.
can open up the pass game. Casey's completion percentage was 63% last year. And I mean, he's accurate. And we saw it every game. I mean, everyone's going to have a bad game, but I feel like a lot of the interceptions weren't even his fault. It'd
Yeah.
be like right through someone's hands. And you just kind of, oh gosh, that's just terrible. So, um, I don't know. Casey could run really well. I feel like he's hard to bring down.
Hmm.
He's very shifty, but it's going to be tough to see. I mean, he's shoulder injury from last year. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just going to be different. It's going to be a different offense as well. So I don't know. I think it's anybody's game. With Sims, he's also he's 6'3",
He's big.
225 pounds or something like that. He's big boy. So he's also tough to bring down, and he's also quick, and he's
Hmm.
got an arm. He had 1,000 yards rushing last year, 11 touchdowns
Hmm.
rushing. So, I mean, we know he can run, but it's also Georgia Tech. So, I mean, I wouldn't say their strength schedule is up to ours, but I mean, I don't know. It's just really different. But I like this position that we're in um, as a team because like you have really two strong athletes,
Hmm.
and they're going to compete, and we're going to see who's gonna step up. One more thing about Casey though is I love all the guys on the team, but that O line was garbage, and that O
Yeah.
line was just he just got beat up, and I think that didn't allow him to do what we expected him to do. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, I mean, I think time will tell, but I think Casey's going to be a starter come fall.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I personally think Jeff Sims is going to win the job. I kind of want Casey to win it because I love Casey Thompson. But
Mm-hmm.
I just think Jeff Sims, well, Casey has that shoulder injury. Same with
Mm-hmm.
Logan Smothers. Both have that shoulder injury, both out probably through spring. I know that some people have said that Casey might be able to come back a little bit toward the end, but it'd be like more like light throwing. Um, and just from what Rule said about how Jeff Sims, he's talked to other people in the NFL and Jeff Collins, Georgia Tech's old coach, that have said that Sims has NFL potential, NFL talent, NFL attributes, everything, the size. And then when he talked about Casey, he was talking about, oh, he did a really good job last year. But that's about it. That's where he stopped. So I just think that the way that the new staff sees it, Jeff Sims is their guy. He's the guy that they brought in. Casey was already here, which I love Casey. I hope he gets it. But just because of that, and because Casey's going to be out for the spring, I think Jeff Sims will probably get it. But kind of hoping for Casey.
That's fair. Yeah. I mean, we're blessed to be in a position with two really good quarterbacks, and
Yes.
not to get on a quarterback thing, but Dillarella, if you somehow see this, please come our way. I would. I do a lot of things to make this happen. But running backs, let's go on running backs.
All right, running
So,
backs. Top three running backs. Who you got?
well, considering we don't really have a very, I wouldn't say a deep room. I loved AJ Allen last year. I think he might be my number one.
Mm-hmm.
He is my number one. And then Anthony Grant. I mean, I feel like he kind of stalled a little bit last year, but I mean, we know he has potential. And Ramir Johnson, I don't know what they were doing last year.
He's so
They never
underappreciated.
like dog. He was so good, like so good. Very, very versatile. He can run the ball. He's hard to bring down. I mean, he's smaller, but he's
Mm-hmm.
quick. He's quick, and he's like a little bulldog. And he can catch the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just something that I feel like he was just not used at all last year. It was just so frustrating. And he would go out and he wouldn't even get the ball.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, all right, keep him in. Oh, great, they're taking him out. Oh, okay, another screen. Great. So it's just like I don't know. I think I mean last year I didn't get to see him do anything. So uh, I'm hesitant to say, but I really hope that this new staff can really use him, and I feel like he's only going to make us better. I mean,
Mhm.
he's I don't know, but I would say Ramir, AJ Allen, Anthony Grant, and Ramir are my top three.
Yeah, yeah. For me, this is one of the deepest rooms in my opinion because you got AJ Allen, you got Ramir, you got Anthony Grant, and you got Gabe Irvin. And Gabe Irvin tested the fastest in terms of miles per hour out of all four running backs so far in winter
Hmm.
conditioning. That to me is kind of crazy because I thought Ramir Johnson was definitely the fastest.
Hmm.
So the fact that he tested faster and he's way bigger than like Ramir, and we already know how much Matt Rule loves his speed.
Yeah.
Um, so I think this is a super deep room. So it's hard for me just to pick three. Because I would want to use all four in different situations. But I think that I would have to put Anthony Grant at one, which I think he'll be more useful this year if we keep that depth and if we rotate our backs more. Because he always did better in games where he didn't get up to like 20 carries. When he had less
Yes.
carries, he had a better game because he had more energy. I just think that sometimes he wore down especially toward the end of the season because we had run him so much at the beginning. I think if
I'm
we
not.
can limit his carries, he'll have
Yeah.
a great season.
That was all on Whip. Like
Yeah.
he, I don't know. It would be great to see them all four. Like I don't know. I it kind of hurts, I guess, draft potential or whatever. But I mean, we want to win, and you can't just keep giving it to the same guy who keeps getting stopped. You know,
Well,
you
and you're
gotta
not
switch
running
things
any
up.
different creative ways. Like it was all
Yeah,
the same. It was all a stupid draw that never worked. The halfback
yeah,
draw or like an inside zone, and that was about it.
hmm
So
yeah,
I don't know. I think I got Anthony Grant one. I think that they're gonna put Gabe Irvin at number two just because how fast he is. And
hmm
then I would go AJ Allen three, and I think they'll probably use Ramir in more of a hybrid role. But again, I'd love to see all four. I
yeah.
don't know.
I
They
mean,
all four are good running backs.
100%, 100%.
And I like
We're
Emmett
we're
Johnson
blessed.
too. I don't know. I like all of our running backs really.
Yeah.
So, and then the fullback, Nebraska recently took a preferred walk on from the state. I believe it was a high school player coming to Nebraska as a designated fullback. Might be our starting fullback. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know who would be the fullback. If there's a running back that can get beefed up, if it's a tight end, whatever it is. But
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. We got a preferred walk on as a designated fullback for the state. He was an all-state running back.
I mean, I don't know anything about it, so I've been busy with school. But I mean, if we can, if we can just, all I care about is the line when it comes to the run because
Hmm.
they're the ones who are supposed to be creating the space for them to run. That wasn't really there last year. So I mean, you can't really, you can't really say, oh, this isn't going to be on the running back, or it's hard to say like what the potential is going to be with just how bad the O line has been the past
Yeah.
couple of years. So I don't know. I'm just kind of like at this point where just the line's got to get better first, and then that opens up the run.
Yeah, that's true. And then let's move on to wide receivers. We got a bunch of wide receivers. Alante Brown, I heard potentially could be coming back in the summer. Wasn't
Hmm.
football related why he's gone. I didn't include him though right now because he's not going to be here probably for the spring.
Yeah.
But what first off, what are your thoughts on Isaiah Garcia Castaneda and Xavier Betts coming back to the team? And then who are your top six wide receivers?
I love them both. I think that like I mean, the more the merrier is kind of like is such a corny thing to say, but like they offer different things that other people don't.
Hmm.
And I mean, I love Xavier Betts, so when he stepped away, I was kind of like, ah. And but I mean, I think it can only help us. My top six um, is pretty much the same as yours.
Hmm.
I have Malachi Coleman, Marcus Washington, Billy Kemp, uh, Xavier. It's literally the same. Just
Hmm.
looking at it, but I said if Alante's back, I think he's going to replace Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. But
Hmm.
um, I really want Alante to come back. I mean, being from Chicago, it's kind of like that's. I mean, it's not my boy, but it's my boy at the same time.
That's
But
your
I
boy.
mean, I really thought this year he was going to break out. I think
Hmm.
last year he was starting to like. kind of fill into that role. I saw him being a leader, and it was really encouraging. And I mean, I know how close he was with Mickey, and so I don't know like how much that whole situation really affected him. But I really thought that he was going to break out this year. So
Mm-hmm.
when um, yeah, when Sean Callahan tweeted that out, I was like, "What?" I
I
was like,
know,
"What's going on?"
same.
I know you sent me that. I was tweaking out, but I mean, I think we have a really good wide receiver room. I mean, it really
Mm-hmm.
hurts that Trey isn't back because
He's
he
a
was just so
dog,
good. He was just so reliable last year.
dude.
You just Casey was just like he's out there.
If
He'll
we
get
had
it.
Trey and Samori Tory back too, oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
I miss Samori.
dude, same.
But I think it allows us to have more weapons. And I think I mean with Fleeks and Kemp coming, I think that really um, brings not veteran, but I mean they're not freshmen. They're not
Yeah.
they've been around the block a little bit, so I think that kind of helps. I'd be worried if they were all really young guys,
Mm-hmm.
but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I think that, well, I mean, Josh Fleeks played with Garrett McGuire, his now wide receiver coach in college at Baylor. So I that's just gonna be a weird dynamic. But anyway, I think that Xavier Betts is gonna be huge to have back. I saw that Sean Callahan had put out something in one of his on three articles about um how Xavier has, according to his reports that he's gotten, looks like he hasn't missed a single day from football. He got back into shape that quick. So I'm
Yeah,
excited to have him back. I loved Isaiah Garcia Castaneda when he was playing. I think he's a baller. I think that Billy Kemps is going to be big, especially on third down. Marcus Washington, I feel like never dropped a pass.
yeah,
Um, and then obviously you got Malachi Coleman coming in. I think he's going to be a dude. And Josh Fleeks is a vet.
it's
I
gonna
think
be a
it's a very
dude.
solid room.
Yeah, I think really when it comes to the offense, my biggest concern is the O line.
Yes.
I mean we're gonna get in tight ends next. I mean we have we're finally gonna be able to see Fedoni, knock on wood. But like his posts get me ready to run through a wall, dog. Like I'm like, yes, he is with it, So
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. And bringing Eric Arik, I don't know the politically correct term or way to say his first name, but Gilbert. We'll call him Gilbert.
Yeah.
Uh, that boy is big. So
Dude.
like, I
Dude.
I'm excited. I mean they have big shoes to fill, 100. Um, but I think I future's bright with them. I wouldn't I'm more confident in them than I would be, if it was anybody else. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the potential in that room between Fedoni and Gilbert, and then even behind him, you got Rollins, you got Borkature, you got
Yeah.
whoever else. But Fedoni and Gilbert together, that is like a lethal combination. If they both
Yeah.
play up to their potential. Fedoni, I know we haven't seen really other than a couple snaps his freshman year. We haven't really seen healthy at all on the field. But if they can both live up to their potential, that is like a stud room.
Yeah. I just really pray that Fedoni just takes care of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to see him ball out. But I mean, only time will tell. And we're gonna hopefully, we get to see a lot in the spring. And just kind of see him ball out. I mean, he's big. I
Yeah.
mean, he was never like tiny, but like compared to when
He
he
looks like a
first came
tight
in,
end now.
he was a little small, but not
Mm-hmm.
like not disrespectful small. But now he's like, good lord, that boy is strong. So I'm excited to see how that's gonna work out.
Yeah. I think that's potential to be our best offensive position.
Mhm.
All right, offensive line. We don't need to dwell on last year. We all know not how bad that room was last year. But
Gosh,
moving on, okay, but part of that is honestly up to the offensive coordinator. I feel like that's what Rule said too. He's like the room is good. He said it was more of the play calling, like the lack of creative play calling that got in the way of
hmm
the offensive line. Which again, he might just be sticking up for his guys. Gotta get your guys
yeah,
back. Um, but I think that the offensive line room might be a little bit better this year. So I got my starting projection here. I got Teddy Prohaska, a left tackle. Get him healthy in the spring. Don't even worry about playing in the spring, buddy. Get healthy first. Come back in the
facts,
summer. Come back in the fall. Whenever you're going to be good to come back. knock off the rust a couple weeks before the first game, and you're starting left tackle. Then
Facts.
I got Nuri Nueli at the left guard, or Henry Lutovsky if he can beat him out. But Nuri's a dog. He's a dog.
Yeah, I
And
love
then
it.
center, I got Ben Scott, the transfer from Arizona State.
Mhm.
Right guard, I got Turner Corcoran or Ethan Piper. And the reason I have like a little slash, the or, is because at right tackle, I have Bryce Benhart or Turner Corcoran. I think
Uh,
Bryce Benhart, depending on how much he develops and actually develops, if he can be a good right tackle, that's good. Then you can put Corcoran at guard, but if not, put Piper or Lutovsky at the right guard and put Corcoran at the right tackle is what I think. I think honestly that has potential. The right tackle is the only position I'm really iffy on, but other than that, I think that has potential to be a pretty solid offensive line.
yeah, I really hope it was the offensive coaching last year because, golly, it was really rough to watch. Uh, going with my starting five, Prochaska, please just be healthy, dog. Like, I really need you.
Take care of
I
them
have
needs.
Newley, Ben Scott, and then Piper, and then Corcoran,
Okay.
and Ben Hart. I don't understand how you're damn near 7 foot tall, 300 pounds. Like it was just a rough year. Like
It was a rough year.
it was just rough to watch. Like at right tackle specifically. I mean, it was just like we just got bullied last year, and it was just like it was rough. And I mean, I'm really hesitant to even like look Ben Hart's way with kind of just how. I mean, yeah, sure, you can say you turn it around, but through
He
how
did.
bad the
Okay.
first.
Okay. He had the second highest PFF grading for on the team for the offensive line last year. I think
That's embarrassing. That's I don't even want to get on that,
he
dog.
got okay.
I
He
every
rightfully
game
got
you
hate
can
at the
pick out
beginning.
you can pick out in every game a situation where he's running the wrong way. Dude's turning around. Dude's not even off the ground yet. He's getting burnt. The ball snapped. In case he's just getting rammed into. And I'm like, dog, what are we doing? I mean, all right, I think the most infamous one is the field goal he's on, and
Um,
he doesn't even move. And I'm like, you punch out. Like just block. He's just sitting there. It was just rough. So I don't know with just how I don't want this to be a I hate Bryce Benhart because I don't.
mm,
I I really want him to turn it around, but last year was just really tough to watch, especially with someone who loves running the ball. We couldn't run the ball
mm-hmm.
because we had no right tackle, and we also had no left tackle because Prochaska was hurt. I mean, this is just getting disrespectful to everyone, but it was just rough, and I don't think
Okay.
you can.
I will say I think Ben Hart really did turn it around at the end of the year.
Pardon my
I think
gallon of
he
water.
showed a lot of improvement and that he could be a key factor coming back. I think that he looked like a serviceable right tackle at the end of the year, in my opinion.
You got to be serviceable at 6'8", 300 pounds. Like, oh,
He did a good job at the end of the year. And we can't even really look too much at last year. This is this is a 60% new offensive line.
that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's like I said, I have optimism, but it's really difficult for me from last year to just overlook it all. But I hope Ben Hart really turns it around, and I will be his biggest fan if he does. But I mean, you can look on Twitter during the games last year. What is Ben Hart doing? Ben Hart, what? Get him out of the game. Why is he still in? Like you and I had the phone calls, and I'm like, what is he still doing in? Like, what is Buddy is lost? Like, I'm just kind of like,
All
all right, we'll see. Let's get to the defense.
right, let's get to the defense. All right, so for defense, first we're going to talk about the defensive line slash the edge room, which I don't really know what the difference is because I feel like if you have a defensive line of a 3-3-5, that means there's only three defensive linemen. How are you really going to have an edge and then call a whole other part defensive line? I feel like you just call it nose tackle. Like, I don't know. But anyway, they have two different positions on the official roster. But we're going to combine them both to the line. So for the 3-3-5, a big question I have is Do we need more beef up front?
Um, yes, I think last year was not great.
Yeah.
I really had hope for last year. I don't know. It's just kind of we just couldn't really get anything going. Um, and I mean, we just got stomped on when it
Hmm.
came to the run game. So, and quarterbacks, it seemed like they had a ton of time um, to get the ball out. So, I would say you just need to get your you just need to get your hungry boys up there and let them go.
Yeah.
But I mean, and then we just got to see with Nash Hutmacher, kind of see what role he's going to play. I mean, I really don't know. I think this is kind of the most unknown when it comes to defense, because we don't know what it's going to look like with our boys up front. But I don't know. I think
Yeah.
I'm really unsure.
I think we definitely need one or two more big bodies from the portal, like a Darian Daniels type body or Damian Daniels
Yeah.
type body. I think that we got a Nash Hutmacher who's going to be the nose tackle, probably, I would guess. And then on one end, you're probably going to have Ty Robinson. On the other end, you're probably going to have like an Elijah Judy, the transfer, or
Hmm.
somebody else, or Stefan Wynn or somebody like that.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that depth at that position is going to be lacking. I know that our boy Ruquan Buckley, friend of HuskerDive, I think from Grand Rapids, he's
Yes,
representing.
sir.
I think he's
Six
going to
one
be a
six.
factor in this. Yes, sir, 616. I think he's going to be a factor in this. I've heard a lot of Steven Sipple and Sean Callahan mention his name before. And this will be his redshirt sophomore year, so hopefully he can start getting some playing time in. But I think that depth is definitely that is a glaring area where we need more depth, and I think we can pick that up in the portal, hopefully, especially at
Yeah.
that interior part.
Hmm.
Because like you can put like a Blaze Gunnerson or Jamari Butler on the edge of that, but you still don't have that much beef in the middle. I don't know. I
Right.
feel like we have more edge guys than we do interior.
Yeah. 100%. I agree with you. That's why it's just so like I don't, especially in the 3-5. I don't know what we're gonna do with that. I can't really I can't really picture it with the way our room looks right now. But we'll
That's
see.
hey, that's Tony White's job. It's his defense, and that's
Yeah.
Terrence Knight and Pot Roast, the coach, his job too, figuring out who's going to be where. But they got to figure out how to fill those gaps because I feel like
Yeah.
we cannot play Nash Hutmacher 70, 80 snaps a game. He'll get tired with how big he is. And
Can't take yeah. Not a
no,
chance.
no defensive lineman can, no, barely any players can play that much. So I just feel like we definitely need to find a little bit more depth there or get creative in how we're going to fill those gaps. Because otherwise, a team like Michigan's going to run the ball all over us.
Yes.
Um, Yeah, I think that Ty Robinson though is promising to me. I think he stepped it
Hmm.
up last year, and I
He
like the
did.
transfer of Elijah Judy from Texas A&M. I think he'll have a good year, and then hopefully Nash can be an anchor in the middle there for us.
I agree.
And then I had one player, Blaze Gunnerson, Matt Rule, when he was watching film over every practice and every spring practice and every game of last year, he said that Blaze Gunnerson was one of the first players that stuck out to him. And that's big to me because that means, okay, this dude has Matt Rule's eye. And so I think that he's going to have a big year too on the edge position. I forget how big he is, but he's a pretty big, tall dude.
Big
So
enough.
yeah, so I think that he'll probably have a big say in what's going to happen as well.
Yeah.
Um, for linebacker, what do you think a linebacker looks like more in the 3-3-5? Does the role change?
I think, I mean, like you said earlier, it's going to bring a lot of blitz packages.
Hmm.
So you're going to have like, I think you're going to have a lot of people playing the ball. And I mean, I mean, MJ Sherman, I'm so excited to see.
Same.
I'm ready to see him pop some heads off. I mean, no targeting, but like, I think, I don't know. You're gonna. It's just so. It's just something we haven't seen. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And I think that you know we're. I mean, Chief Borders. I know he's strong.
Hmm.
I saw him doing something with a gymnast on the team. They like posted a TikTok or
I
something. He was
saw
doing
that.
like some. I was like, you know, it's pretty impressive that someone his size could do some of the things not great, but I mean, it's just. like I said, everything is just time will tell. I think it's just gonna. I don't know how quick they are. I think it's just gonna kind of have to. You're gonna have to see them play together
Hmm.
and see them play live. But I think that blitzing is going to be something that we're going to have to execute well,
Hmm.
and it's going to have to be efficient, especially with like how we were saying. Right now, our D line is just not strong, and if them backers can do something, I really it'd be really beneficial, 100%.
Yeah, and I think that there's a video going around on Twitter of Tony White explain, like, kind of giving a tutorial of blitz packages with the 3-3-5. Because if you think about it, if you blitz two linebackers from a 3-3-5, you're still dropping six in coverage, which is a good amount.
Yeah,
And he was just showing all the different blitz ways you can blitz with this defense, and there are so many different ways. It would be so confusing as an offensive coordinator to prepare for that. That I
yeah,
just think you have to have, like, I don't know. I think if you can execute it well and execute your blitzes well, and your linebackers play fast and with instinct, that it can be really good. Which is where I love Luke Reimer in this defense. He plays so quick, and
yeah.
he goes fast toward the ball. I think that
That
also,
boy is a nut. I say it
dude,
every
he is
year.
a nut.
That man is an unhinged killer. Like, you look at his picture, he looks like a serial killer. Like, he
Yeah.
looks like he wants to kill people, and that's exactly who I want on my team, running at people, scaring the shit out of them. Like, I'm excited. I think I think our defense really has bright potential. I mean, if we
Mhm.
fix those, fill in those gaps that when we talked about earlier, we have some playmakers, and I really like. We'll get to more about you know, impact players. But I really think MJ Sherman is going to really ball out this year. I
Yeah.
really see potential with him. But I think you know, I I'm just excited. I'm excited to see kind of how everyone is going to, uh, fill in there for their role and do their job essentially. And yeah, it's exciting. I love Luke Reimer. It really
Mhm.
hurt me last year when he got hurt. But yeah, I mean, we have a good backer room. I think we're pretty stacked there, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I'd agree, and I think that too. Like if you have Nick Henrich in the middle of that room, like in the middle linebacker spot, you got Luke Reimer, one of the outside backer spots, and the other outside backer, you got MJ Sherman, you got Chief Borders, and then you got guys like a true freshman, Eric Fields, who the coaches love from Oklahoma because he was
Mm-hmm.
so fast toward the ball. You can develop him, put him in somewhere somehow that early, or you got Jamari Butler, maybe he steps back to linebacker. He's a little bit smaller. You got somebody like him that can play a little bit outside, be more of a blitzing guy. That
Yeah,
there's more depth at that spot than I would have thought going into spring ball.
100%.
And there's more speed there too than I thought, because Luke Reimer I feel like is pretty quick for
He's
a
very quick.
linebacker, and then
Yeah,
MJ Sherman, which I don't know too much about MJ Sherman and Chief Boris, but from everything we've heard, they're quick and fast and strong. And then Eric Fields, Jamari Butler. There's a lot of potential in that room, I think.
and I think that really helps out with our pretty mediocre D line.
Hmm.
Just, I mean, I think that having the depth there is really going to help them out. It's basically like they're going to have to really become that edge, and I think Henrich really had an off year last year. I mean, he
Yeah.
he did get hurt, but I think like if we could get 2 seasons ago Nick Henrich, we could be really dangerous.
Yeah.
I feel like our tackling game was not it last year. I feel like
No, because we didn't tackle
we
in
could
practice until
we
Mickey
couldn't
took
bring
over.
we couldn't bring anyone down. Last year's coaching staff, gosh. But yeah, I think I I think it's just going to be completely different. I think it's just hard to make these predictions with everything that we witnessed last year and
Yeah.
suffered through. Um, and you got to understand, like, it's hard to like picture, like, we'll go back to Ben Hart for a second. It's hard to picture Ben Hart doing his job with like a whole like with his history, but it's also hard to like know what he did in the past with a whole new team. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. That's just kind of my 2 cents with a new package, new players. But we'll see. Time will tell. I'll keep
Yeah.
saying it.
All right. So let's move on to DBs because that's going to take up 5 of the 11 positions on the field. One of these positions is going to be the nickel back. So that's a very interesting JoJo-esque type position. You're kind of like a
Great band, by
hybrid
the way.
linebacker. Joe, what is it? What'd you
I
say?
said Nick. You said Nickelback. I said great band, by the way.
Yeah. That's like a hybrid between a linebacker and safety type of position. So you do more covering like coverage responsibilities, but you also step up in the run game.
Hmm.
Um, on Nebraska's official roster, I think they have 5 players listed, the 3 on scholarship. I think actually 6. Gage Stenger, I don't know how to say his name. I think he's on scholarship.
Hmm.
But the big ones I found were Isaac Gifford, Omar Brown, and Javen Wright were the 3 nickelbacks that were listed that I really recognize. Um, that I remember their names pretty well. But I think Isaac Gifford and especially Javen Wright, those two have a lot of potential. Isaac Gifford's a baller. He was all over the field last year, I think.
That's who I have. Who's going to be the nickel?
Yeah.
He was third on the team in tackles, and like that boy could play.
Mm-hmm.
It was I was just really impressed with just all season with how it. I don't want to say he looks small, but he kind of looks small on the field. Um, but he's quick. He reminds me of JoJo.
Yeah, he
Exactly. I
does.
mean, Joe, and those are some big shoes to fill, and he's doing it really well. I mean, 70 tackles last year. It's just I'm confident that he's going to be that go-to guy. And I don't know. I'm hesitant because I know we just got some ballers, and it's just hard to say because you want other people to develop.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You especially younger guys, but it's nice that we have the depth there. But I think Gifford's gonna take the reins, and I don't see him stopping unless
Well,
something bad happens.
and I think that this is Gifford's only 3rd year too, so
Yeah.
he's pretty young. But I think also Javen Wright is going to be is a good player at that position. He's really lengthy, really athletic. I think he has a lot of potential as well.
Hmm.
And then for corners, who do you got at corner? I got Quentin Newsome and who? Is it going to be Malcolm Hartzog or is it going to be Tommy Hill, Braxton Clark?
Hmm. I think Malcolm Hartzog really proved himself last year. I remember I went ballistically crazy during it when he intercepted whatever Purdue. I can't even think of his name, but his interception in the end zone, well, it was electric. Like it just made me like no one will beat Cam Taylor Britt. But like when I remember how hype like against Penn State, he had the pass breakup, he had the interception. Like it was he had balled out that game. But I remember that
Yeah.
excitement I had not felt until I saw like that interception was just so. I mean, seeing it live, of course, is just going to kind of like skew that a little bit. But it was just really. I feel like he played really well. I mean, there were some times when you could see some uh, you know mistakes being made. But I'd like to see Braxton Clark as well. I
Yeah.
think he kind of went under the radar last year. I think there were really high hopes for him, and we didn't really hear his name much. Um, so it was kind of surprising, but I think it's anybody's spot to fill. To be honest, like
Yeah.
um, it's it makes me confident in kind of seeing that. And Tommy Hill's coming back as a DB, so I mean, I we'll just see. I like the depth that we have there,
Yeah.
uh, and I don't think that I just really hope we do the next man up
Yeah.
type of thing. If someone's not playing well, get them out. Like
Yeah.
you
They got
can't
the depth
you
to
could
do it.
you could figure that out in practice. You're like, okay, you kept doing this. We're gonna fix this. Like your first step was bad. You can't read the ball right. I don't know, but that's not something you just let them figure out in the game. And I think that's what the staff last year did. I think that's just what the staff has been doing in the past. It's just kind of
Hmm.
like, oh, he'll figure it out. But he's getting torched, and now we're down 14 points. It's just like
Yeah.
I don't I don't really like having to make adjustments during the game. I think for the spot that we've been in, you just kind of have to trust your other players, and the DB room is just so we're good. Like
Yeah.
we are a very good team. But I just don't think a lot of people are given the opportunity to really kind of prove themselves. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Malcolm Hartzog because I love that boy.
I love him too. Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree that I think that it's Quentin Newsome definitely for sure one. And then I think that Malcolm Hartzog is probably the other one. But Tommy Hill, they switched him back to DB. I think he's got his fair chance. I mean, I know he struggled last year at corner, but what Travis Fisher said about he's gonna one day have his jersey in the like his number in Memorial Stadium, whatever. I think that and then he kind of fell out of that when he got into like a fight with Travis Fisher. Then they had a bad relationship. That's why he switched to receiver, whatever. But he is the fastest running miles per hour on the team, and that's big to rule. So I think some way you got to get him onto the field. So I think if he comes out with like that Mamba mentality, he just comes out a killer. He beats out Malcolm Hartzog. I could see that happening, but otherwise, I think it's Hartzog's job to lose.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But I agree, we do have really good depth there. I think it should be next man up. Especially when you're playing five DBs, I feel like you have plenty of depth there. It definitely should be next man up.
Mm-hmm.
And then for safety, I'm we're probably both on the same page with this. I got Marquise Buford and Miles Farmer.
Yeah, like that. We don't even need to discuss it.
Though I will say though, the one player that I'm interested to see is Noah Pola Gates. I've always liked him. He's been a little bit undersized,
Yeah,
but the fact that he stayed around with the program for this long without really seeing the field says a lot.
yeah. He's like I hate saying this because it makes it sound like he's just like a bench rider, but like he's just a great program guy. Like he's just um I've always liked him. I know you love him.
Hmm.
But I mean, yeah, it'd be really great to see him get out there. I know he has the ability to play. I know he has the talent to be out there. But I mean, if we do this next man up mentality, he should be out there. So I mean, not everyone's going to be on their A game. Like,
No.
I mean, that's the expectation. I understand that's the expectation, but we're all human, so we're gonna let each other down, and like that's just time that like players like Noah Gates can like really shine because they're hungry for that opportunity. So, I mean, if we can adopt that, then I think we can really see someone shine.
Yeah, and I think too that it's going to be a fair slate for everybody, a clean slate too with the new coaching staff.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's kind of have a fair shot now. Because and the coaches haven't seen everybody play, so I think that's probably another reason that he stayed behind a lot of these other players because they still also get their chance with them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on, we did offense, defense. Now specialists. Really, I think we both have Bushini at punter. Dude's a dog, absolute great person, friend of HuskerDive. And then we got a new long snapper for transfer from Florida on scholarship, Marco Ortiz. And then right now we also have two scholarship place kickers, Tristan Alvano, the freshman from Nebraska high school,
Mm-hmm.
from a high school in Nebraska, I think Omaha West Side.
West
Went
side, yeah.
5 for 5 or 4 for 4 in the state championship, hit a 40-something yarder to win it. Also friend of HuskerDive, recent interview. Go check it out. And Timmy Bleakroad was the kicker last year. So a battle between them. 4 scholarship specialists. I know Rule doesn't like to do that, but what do you think about the Alvano versus Bleakroad competition?
I'm gonna be honest. I think Bleak Road is gonna beat him out. I think he has like it's like I was a kicker,
Mm-hmm.
so and I mean at a very smaller scale, but them nerves are crazy. Like it's hard to like really beat those out. And coming in as a kicker, like Ivano's a 5 star, yeah,
I mean, 5-star kicker star ratings are different, but yes, he's a 5-star kicker.
yeah, trust, I know. But I mean, you could be the best of the best, but it's a completely different game when it comes to high school to
Mm,
like being able to translate out into college. I think the future's bright with him though. I think I mean, it's Bleak Road's job to lose. I
mm-hmm.
think he didn't do bad last year. I feel like our special teams was, let's just say it was just a major improvement from the year
It was
before.
serviceable.
Yeah, it was just, yeah. I mean, I don't think that, I mean, like I said, it's Bleekrum's job to lose. He didn't pull a Connor Culp and miss everything. So I think that we should really invest in, getting Alvaro in, if it's a blowout or something, like let him get that experience of kicking in front
Mm,
of kicking in front of thousands of people. But I mean, that's just my only concern. It's tough to one kick a football, two to kick a football in front of that many people. And I think, I mean, that's just my biggest concern with Alfano. But I know he's talented. I know he's got a leg on him.
mm-hmm.
So, like, I mean, when it comes down to it, it just comes to experience. I feel like when it comes to kicking, and I think that's where Bleekrun's going to beat him out.
I
So
have a
that
question for you. In high school, did you use the kicking tee, like the tee box, when you're doing field goals? Or did you go off
no.
the
So
ground?
in high school, you have a block. It's just kind of, I mean, it's this is a rich wallet, but it's just kind of like you set the ball on it. You only did, I mean, we only did that on some fields. I used to
Mhm.
kick off the ground, but some fields I would kick off the block. It just kind of depended on the grass. If it was turf, kicked off the ground. But like we played in some really boosty fields, so like the grass would be just insanely long. So you'd be like trying to you need a lob wedge to get the ball out. So that's why you'd use the block. But
Yeah.
yeah,
The only
that's
reason I
fun.
ask is because Sean Callahan and some of the other reporters were talking about this Alvano versus Bleak Road battle. And Sean Callahan was saying that he expects Tristan Alvano to win the job
Mm,
because part due because most Nebraska kickers use a block when they're kicking field goals. But Alvano all season long kicked off the ground and in the state championship in the dead of winter when he went and made all those field goals 5 for 5, 4 for 4, whatever it was. With all
they were
that
deep
pressure was
too.
kicked. Yeah, they were deep. The last one was 45 or 47 or something yards.
Yeah,
With all that pressure to win it, and he was kicking off the ground, which is what you do in
yeah,
college. Um, so that was just impressive to me, and the fact that he can hit those longer field goals. I feel like Timmy Bleekrode, we never really
he's
tried
strong.
longer field goals.
Yeah,
So I feel like Alvano might have the stronger leg there. So maybe there'll be a thing like where Alvano kicks from 40 plus and Timmy Bleak Road
yeah,
kicks from 40 and in or whatever. I don't know. But I do think that Alvano has a good shot of winning the job too.
yeah. I definitely think he has. I don't want to say more talent, but he definitely has the talent to become the kicker.
Mm-hmm.
But I just can't overlook the pressure. And I remember like just walking out at Wildcat Stadium here at Indiana Wesleyan. You're just kind of like, wow, there's a few thousand people. I could not imagine stepping out in front of 85 plus. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's just like that's a whole new ball game. So, I mean, yeah, Alvano's very talented. I watched a little bit of his film and I was very impressed. And I was so glad that he got offered because
Same.
there's no way you can have this type of talent bang a game winner in your own stadium and not offer him. Like, what are we
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah.
So that was really encouraging to see, and I think the future's bright with him. Hope he rides it out if he doesn't end up getting the starting job. But I mean, like I said, I think Bleak Road is the guy just because he has the experience. But
Mm-hmm.
it'd be awesome to see Alvaro get in there.
Yeah, I agree. All right. All right. So we did offense, defense, specialist. Let's go into our predictions. Um, this is for the next season, not just spring ball. Um,
Okay.
I want you to give me one true freshman that's going to make the biggest impact, one transfer is going to make the biggest impact, and then one bold prediction.
Um. All right, for freshman, true freshman, Malachi Coleman.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to come in. He's going to start, and he's going to be a dog.
He
Uh,
he he is that dog.
he is. I got so nervous when Dion took over at Colorado and he went and
Same.
visit. I was like, no chance. I low key thought I low key thought it was over with once that happened.
When he had that
But
little handbag in the cars.
I was like, oh no. But it was really encouraging that seeing him come and still ride with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you got to give him a shot if you're Matt Rule and company. And I think he's going to just take it and run with it. He is so talented, super fast, super strong. So he's got great hands. Like there's no reason why he shouldn't be playing. I know we kind of last year it was like, oh, we're on the coldest Crawford train, but like this is a whole new breed.
This
Like I
is
feel like,
he's big
um,
too.
yeah, I feel like he's really going to take over, and he's going to be that guy. Uh, but I mean, yeah, I'm really excited to see him play. When it comes to a transfer, I mentioned it earlier. MJ Sherman,
Mm-hmm.
I hope to God is going to just be good. Like
Mm-hmm.
he just looks like an animal.
Yeah.
Um, and so I mean, I also could say Sims if he ends up taking the starting job. Like I really like Sims. I watched his film. He's really good. Like I mentioned earlier, so he had good stats except for the interceptions. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just tough to tell with this new offense if he's really going to be like if he's going to be that guy. And it's a whole new. It's Big Ten. It's ain't Sun Belt or whatever wherever Georgia Tech is. So
ACC.
uh, whatever, it's the same thing. Uh, so wow, that was a stupid comment. Anyways, but I think Sims, if he starts, is going to be the biggest transfer biggest impact transfer. But if he doesn't, I'm gonna take MG Sherman
All
on
right.
defense side of the ball. My bold prediction. Now, when it comes to what I'm gonna give two.
Okay.
Okay, this is going to be what's it called? A player specific and a team specific. Player specific, I think that AJ Allen is going to lead the team in rushing.
Okay.
I think what we saw from him last year, he was just a dog, and I'm just excited to see him. Now, if we look back at last year, at when we discussed our predictions for how the season was going to go, I was very wrong. I couldn't be more wrong. I think
Yeah.
what I said was the legit inverse. So I'm still gonna ride the high, baby. I think we are going to be an above 500 team. I
Okay.
think I think we have the potential to really just be good, and I think that Rule really wants to win, and he's really dedicated to this program, and I think when with all the stuff that happened last year when it came to Frost, it seemed like he just didn't want to be there. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
looked like he was sleep deprived and depressed. Uh, Probably hung over a few of those games, and um, like it, like in all honesty, like it was really tough to watch. It seemed like Frost just didn't care, especially towards the time before he was let go. And then Mickey, I know he loved the program, but with all the crap that happened afterwards, it was like I
Yeah.
feel like the players were just stuck in a position where it's like they didn't have that leader, like that father figure that the head coach is supposed to be, and it looks like Rule is really doing that. He's
Yeah.
literally all over the place, and I think that's only just like fueling the team to really be good and really ball out this year. So that those are my predictions.
All righty. I got one true freshman making impact. I was debating. I think I'm gonna go with Tristan Alvano. My second would have been Malachi Coleman, but I'm gonna go Tristan Alvano to win the kicker job. For
Ooh.
transfer, I'm gonna go Jeff Sims. I think he's gonna win the quarterback job. If he doesn't, I'm gonna go with Billy Kemp because I think he's gonna get a lot of touches this year. And my bold prediction, I think that at least three true freshmen are either going to be starters or get significant playing time. That's just because Rules always liked playing for true freshmen and work on development. He's a developmental coach. He just wants to see progress. I think Malachi Coleman, Tristan Alvano, and then somebody else that I'm not thinking of. Maybe Eric Fields, maybe Printwell, maybe um, I don't know who else. Bryce Turner, somebody like that is gonna step out and be the other Demetrius Bell. Maybe there's gonna step out and be the third true freshman and make a big impact. But that's what I got for you.
That's what I love about Rule, man. Like I love that, and I've told you this many times. You need to get the young guys out there. You
Yeah.
need like you once all like your seasoned veterans are gone, you're just gonna have a bunch of soft Pillsbury Doughboy young boys in there, and they're not gonna know what to do.
Hmm.
And it's just a whole different like coaching philosophy that Rule is bringing in. I'm really excited, and I think we're gonna have a really good season. I think it's gonna be better than last year, to be honest. Even though
Yeah.
our record wasn't worse than the year before, it was just worse. Last
Yeah.
year was just worse. there's just too much drama going on. And it was just hard to win. And I think if the coaches can foster an environment where the players can succeed on and off the field, I think that, the future is really bright for us.
Yeah. And it's officially March. So happy March Madness and spring ball kickoff month. Um, and I'm sure that we'll be talking a lot after the spring game. I'm excited for it. I'm hoping that it's a physical game, a real game. Excited to see all the players that we're talking about play. Hopefully, no injuries, and it should be a good year.
Yes, sir.
Alrighty, man. Well, I'll catch up with you later, but another episode of Husker Dive.
See you guys.
See you.